everyone, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 2 of the Manly Hanley Podcast. This is the podcast with no limits on what we'll cover, unless it's something totally psychotic or not worth covering. I'm your host, Randy, and with me today is my co-host, Christa. I want you to have a snack, sit back, and relax. This episode was recorded on Sunday, March 24th, 2019. So, I've got a couple announcements today. I've officially made it to episode 2, and I've reached my goal.
Woo!
Thank you very much. I started out by setting the bar low, so there were no disappointments. Just wanted to make it to a second episode. We're now on Google Podcasts, available in the Google Play Store for Android. We're also on Stitcher. And actually, outside of my notes, we just made it to the Apple iTunes store for the podcast archives or whatever you call it. But that's pretty awesome.
Woo-hoo!
Well, thank you again. Buzzsprout is the host I'm using. Not getting paid to say this, but I started out with them because it seemed the most interesting. They make it really easy to get this podcast out to you guys. And I'm really pleased with how easy they make it. They have a bunch of great guides that I have been following, and it's helped me get published right away. This all happened within like a week's time of starting. Obviously, the podcast planning and setup takes a lot more time than that. My sponsor right now is actually Christa. She's she's helping make this happen. We're set up here in a studio room we have dedicated, and it's working out really nice. Got ourselves a professional mixer that fits in a house, and we have some microphones as well as some headphones. Bought it on our own, so that's great.
And furniture from my grandparents.
Oh, yes. This awesome rocking chair that you're sitting in. You're rocking this awesome rocking chair. That's really cool. So let's give an episode rundown. The episode title is Side Hustle Ideas for Extra Income. We'll be covering side hustle ideas that could make you more money, things that we've actually tried and are currently doing. Just things like selling things online using something other than Craigslist. So let's begin with that. Christa opened me up to using a different channel other than Craigslist. I've been using Craigslist for the past 15 years, selling farm equipment. I've been selling farm equipment for people, furniture, electronics, you name it. I sold some serious amount of goods on other things other than Facebook, or than Craigslist. And Christa opened me up to trying Facebook Marketplace. And I was really surprised. It was like things just opened up again, and I as much as I love Craigslist, it being free, not filled with ads, it's rocking on Facebook Marketplace. So we even changed our names on Facebook, right? Is that what I mean?
Yeah.
For safety, not that we were threatened or anything, but just because you're, on Facebook, your name shows.
Because the marketplace is open to anybody, not just your friends list.
Good point.
So everyone can see you, even if they aren't your friend. So we just made our last initial our last name.
Yeah. And it's worked out fine. I mean, it's, originally when I started posting on there and I was myself, somebody's like, oh, you're friends with this person. I know him. And yeah, I understand that can build some trust off the bat, but I don't plan to follow up with people after I sell something.
No, we're just trying to get in and out and make some dollars.
Exactly. And while I hate to admit it, because I know there's naturally over 1.7 billion people on Facebook. I think that was the last number I checked when I Googled it. That's a big audience. And Craigslist is huge, but 300 something million in the United States? I don't know. It's kind of like Facebook's just, yeah, so that means you'll also naturally get some spam on Facebook Messenger sometimes, but
I think Facebook works really good too for smaller things. Craigslist seems to work better for larger pieces of furniture or dressers and desks, but we're trying to move small items that people are just looking at quickly to get in and out. Facebook has worked really well.
Totally. That's exactly right. For my place, that's all I've been selling. And by the way, when I say my place, Chris and I are engaged. We live in different locations currently, although in the next year we will be moving into one location. So at my location, I'm selling things, and it tends to be only furniture on Craigslist. I forgot the name of it for a second. And then the other one that I had heard of and I've tried a few times was OfferUp. And then, of course, there's LetGo, but OfferUp, there's no question. It's better than LetGo, in my opinion. We've sold a few things on there, but not even a quarter of the amount of things we're selling on Facebook.
I think OfferUp isn't as consistent. The folks on there, they might reach out to you, but they don't follow through. Folks on Facebook, I would say 80% of the time you make the sale off the engagement with them. So if they start reaching out, you are bound to make the sale. So I think Facebook doesn't take as much time to manage. But OfferUp wasn't terrible, but LetGo definitely. I don't think I made one sale off LetGo.
I think that's the same for me in the last year. It's pretty bad. So
do we want to give tips on what to do when you post on Facebook?
Sure. Do you have any tips offhand that you could think of, like something you've tried? Because you've helped me.
Well, you taught me like the best pictures will work. So taking pictures in the right light, making sure you like show if there's a box that comes with the item. People love things in a box. So we've retaken photos before, and that's actually really helped. Like we've sold things that were up there for a few weeks, and after we took new photos where the product looks really good, it's actually sold faster. So make sure the photos are always really crisp and clean, and there's nothing weird in them. That I think really helps. And then giving a lot of descriptions, that helps, making sure people know what it is, how tall it is, how wide it is, because if you don't have that information in there, they might just cruise by, even though it's something that they might want. So those are all things you taught me from Craigslist, but all of that carries over really well, I think, to Facebook. So just making sure it's all really clear.
I am glad I have you here because I did not write that down, and that's exactly what I do when I'm posting stuff, but I just didn't think about it. Thank you for sharing that. That's a great point. And I think I learned the picture one from I think that's on Craigslist when you post, they're big on, post a good picture. So that stuck with me but the part you're saying about the boxes, I learned that from just, selling a lot of electronics. People they tend to have their heart set on getting the box. And I a couple times I kind of got short with like I didn't have the box. I'm like, the box doesn't serve any purpose in the functioning of the product. But I mean, I understand you might want to gift it to your kid and make them think you bought it new.
Maybe the cat wants to get in the box. Maybe they have a cat and the cat wants to play with the box.
That's a good point. Cats love boxes. What about Vic?
Vic loves a good box. Vic is here with us today. He didn't want to miss out on the second podcast. I think he's a little mad that I got the co-host position today, but I think he's going to recover.
Okay, good. Yeah, you could tell he's just kind of not interested. He's just not having it. But he accepts the position you have there. He's looking at you in the chair, and he's not going to fight you for it this time.
No, we'll share, Vicky. Don't worry.
So for those online purchases, we're gonna move into another subject here in a minute. But I'm going to mention a part that Christa actually had me start doing. In addition to, and I'm not big on this. This used to be something I thought my parents would say, like keep track of things, and they don't talk like that.
Well, you would sell a ton of stuff, and then you would be like, I would never knew, like, I want to keep track of it. Like, it's so exciting to see everyone thinks, oh, it's not worth selling. It's just $10. It's just $15. It's just $9. But all of that adds up. And I think that by keeping track of it, we're able to really see the benefit of selling it. We convince people to sell their stuff. Like, it really adds up. Like those, people are like, it's not worth your time to go meet somebody. Well, it is actually. If you add up a few times, you make a lot of the money back of things that you're selling. It's always good to donate, of course, if there's items that you give away. And we did that. We took a couple bags to the Salvation Army to make sure that it wasn't just about what we needed, but helping our community around us. But I think we also help the community by making these sales. And I think by keeping track of them, we can see how much we are kind of refilling our pockets of things that we've bought, which is really helpful. So I wanted to know how much money you were making because I needed to know when I was getting my next present.
Oh, come on. So yeah, that's a good point about keeping track of the money though. It's, we honestly brought in probably a couple grand this last year from selling stuff. And that's, getting rid of the most of the stuff. So it's probably not going to be as big next year unless we were purposely flipping things. Right. And we did flip something recently.
You and the flipping.
This is kind of disgusting. Do you want to talk about that one? Or?
What did you flip?
Some chairs. Remember those chairs? You were driving down somewhere in the Detroit area.
No, we were in Royal Oak.
Well, it's Metro Detroit. People on the podcast aren't going to know. I mean, maybe they'll know Royal Oak. But
so flipping, I'm like, not sold on, to be honest, because he'll find like a piece of garbage and then want to flip it. And like half the time he has not made more money, nor actually 98% of the time he did not make more money. But one time we were driving down the street right by my house and he sees these chairs stay on the side of the road and he makes me stop. And while I stop the car, he gets out of the car. I then live text the whole situation to my cousin Mary because somebody needed to know what was happening. I think I even FaceTimed her so she could see it unfold. He then runs up to the front door. This old lady comes out and he's like, "Can I take the chairs?" And she's like, "Okay, I have another one in the basement." So I think we filled the car with 5 chairs. They were like leather, wood backed, but leather seats, right? They were like kitchen table chairs.
That's correct.
And there was 5 of them. And I think I did FaceTime Mary through this experience so she could see it because it was so kind of deranged. Is that? We'll have to confirm with Mary.
That's accurate. I believe you did have, yes, I think you were streaming it.
I think I was.
It was video recorded or streamed. It was one of the two.
Yes, because people like wouldn't believe that like this is the guy. I don't think we were engaged yet.
No, we were not.
So I was trying to convince
still,
people that I was going to marry you, but then you also like knocked on random people's doors to take their furniture so we could sell them.
As long as it wasn't like a forced, interaction, say give me your chairs. But I was.
So how long did we have those chairs before we sold them?
3 days.
And how much did we sell them for?
$150-$160.
Yeah, that one was worth it for sure.
I mean, come on, free $165. Boom.
Yes.
That was luck. Okay, so maybe that'll make up for all the times I made $2 from wasting hours of time.
I think when you look to flip furniture or flip something, like if you see something online that you think somebody posted for a low cost, if you know you can get more for it, buy it. But when it's kind of a piece of junk, like you bought a dresser once that like had paint on it and green stuff on it, that was not okay. I think you ended up throwing that away.
That did happen. No. That one I did give to somebody for $5, which is what I think I gave the person $5 for it because I felt bad.
Yeah.
And now
I don't think that was our greatest, but the chairs were a really good success for sure.
Yeah.
But keeping track, I think, is a really good thing for people to do, just so you can keep track of what's going on and what you've sold, and then you can remember. Like right now, I don't remember how much we sold those chairs for, but it's in a Excel doc somewhere.
Yes, and the thing that you touched on earlier was about giving to the Salvation Army, and I'd like to add to that because the things that we did not sell. I should get closer to my mic. See, we're kind of new at this. I know how to use a mic, but in a podcast setting, I'm kind of new to this. But the recently, after we could not sell a bunch of things that they just didn't, somebody didn't really need right away, she had me take them to the Salvation Army. And the thing is, a lot of these things were really good. I mean, like there were like, what's that DVD? How I Met Your Mother DVD set?
Yeah, a lot of DVDs.
Sets of those you gave away. And somebody's really going to benefit from that. I mean, it's still a nice show. And
yeah, everyone, as long as it's not broken, I think the Salvation Army appreciates whatever you can give them. So I think that's always a good idea. The other thing that we did a lot of was we sold stuff for other people, which I think was kind of even funnier because I don't know, is funnier a word, or do people just say more funny?
I think funnier is a word. America's funniest home videos, funnier. Yeah.
We'll Google it later. Yeah. The cat is walking around Randy's mixer and he's getting so stressed out. We're going to have to live stream this as we become super famous. So something else we did is we sold stuff for my siblings, which was actually super easy. It would have been really cool if I kept the money, but I didn't. I gave them the money and they put it towards some stuff that we all share. So it was fun for us. But we actually sold a few things for my brother. We sold garbage cans. We posted garbage cans and I think we sold them within 30 minutes.
You got 50 hits on those though. It was more stress for you, not stress, but more work for you to sort those out. And
yeah, those were a lot. Should I tell them about the cooler? My mom's cooler.
Oh, man. If that's okay with your mom. I don't know if Nina.
So I was selling stuff for my family, and it was fun because, you're helping people get rid of stuff. It's getting rid of their stresses, and we don't find it stressful. I actually think it's really fun to do it. Not all the time, but when you have some free time, it's fun to coordinate everything. And then luckily I get to send Randy to most interactions, so I don't have to do much. And I just hope he doesn't get shot, which he hasn't. But my mom told me that there was a cooler in her garage that she didn't need anymore. And it was, I was like, okay, I'll sell it. So I just took it. I didn't talk to her about it. I sold it. And then I sold it for $20. I met some guy while I was eating dinner somewhere. And I took the cooler out and I put it in his car and I called my mom. I said, Mom, guess what? I sold your cooler. And she goes, what cooler? And I go, you told me the cooler, the white cooler. She said, that's my favorite cooler. I didn't want you to sell that. And then my siblings reminded me that white cooler we have had for 20 years. And my mom has been using it for 20 years. And that I kind of broke my mother's heart because I sold her cooler. And I felt really bad, but I did laugh hysterically about it.
We never got it back. I thought we would, but
I did buy her a new cooler, but she was like, it's not the same.
I know, and mom will always say that. My mom would say that it's not the same, but I love you, but it's not the same.
I think she stopped loving me. No.
No.
So yeah, selling stuff for people is really fun. And then if they let you keep the money, it's even funner. What else can we talk about? What else can we sell?
We're going to do a break. I was going to do a seg, but this doesn't matter.
Oh, why do we need a break?
Because we don't have a commercial sponsor, but I want to pretend we do. So I'm going to be like, coming up on the Manly Hanley Podcast after this commercial break that we might have in the future, Season 1, Episode 2, we're going to continue our discussion on another easy way to make some extra cash. We are back with Season 1, Episode 2 of the Manly Hanley Podcast. The next section we are going to get into is online surveys that don't suck. And why do I say that? Well, because I've tried a bunch over the last 10 years. You know those surveys that you can get paid to take surveys? You see those everywhere. I've done those. You make like a quarter. So I signed up for a lot of survey sites over the years that paid pennies for hours of your time. And I'm not sugarcoating that or just embellishing that at all. It really was pennies. It would literally probably be a 25-minute multiple question survey, and I'd make like 5 cents.
That's not okay.
It's not, and it's really insulting when you're like, okay, I thought I would, I can make up to this much. Well, it's not going to be that much every time, obviously. So these survey sites, these bad ones that I will refer to them as, they're everywhere still. They come up firstly when you search for how to make money online, because obviously they're going to search, or they're going to buy up those keyword searches. And so they do come up. And they're probably using that extra money that they should pay you to make themselves show up in those search results. But just...
What are some of the best surveys that you've done?
Well, in the last year, it's only been about a year now, they would be like user interface type surveys. I don't know if I'm allowed to give out the name exactly of the ones I'm using, but I'll gladly tell family and friends in person.
What does a user interface survey mean? Like, it means like they ask you how their website works and what you would click next. Like, is it like user testing for new websites?
A lot of them are, yes. If you were to, okay, let's do this. If you were to search for terms on Google, such as user testing or research surveys, you're probably going to see them in the first handful of results. And what those are is exactly what you described. It tends to be a user interface or a mock-up of a website, almost just like a template, where they have the layout there of the site and the concept, and then they go ahead and ask you, was this easy for you to understand or was it hard for you to understand? And
they ask you to kind of find stuff, right? They'll be like, if you were looking for X, where would you start? And then you answer them, and that's how they know how to create their journey, their consumer journey on the site. Yeah,
and I'm not sure how many people they interview like myself, but they have like half-hour time slots that you can pick when there is an opening. They'll email you, and you go sign up, and it's usually like a 5-day notice, probably, something like that. And you sign up, and then they send you a calendar alert to like a go-to meeting type invite. You join them. They ask to see you on webcam because they just want to make sure you're, there and watching and looking at the site.
Oh.
But it's not super strict. It's very casual. And they just say, like exactly what you're explaining. They'll say, where would you go if you wanted to open a home loan? And you'll be on like a mortgage site, for example,
okay.
and it'll say home loans at the top. They want to see if that draws you in.
Right.
So just stuff that's really good. I like that companies do that. And I didn't know they go that far to pay people to do that.
I think they do. I think a lot of there's independent sites that help companies figure out their best user flow.
Mm-hmm.
What about the surveys you've done? When someone haven't you FaceTimed with people and they've asked you questions, or have they Skyped with you? Yeah, very similar situations. They're not always face to face, so that's nice when they're not. But when they become the mobile site ones, they know that if you're on an iPhone or Android, it just launches the camera on your phone and it informs you you're being recorded. And they like to see how you're looking up and down the page. I think that's what they're taking note on. Oh, that's interesting.
But I mean, they tend to be on average. I'll give you the payout, because I'm telling you how much we make when we do selling stuff on Craigslist. A 10-minute survey, it tends to be, or a 15-minute survey max. It could be 10 minutes. It tends to be $10.
Okay.
Which that's way more worth it than 40 cents or 25 cents that I was making. Would it be? I'd say a 30-minute survey. I believe is. What's the 30-minute? I think it's $40.
Okay.
Which, this is making more sense, right? And this is after my work hours. When I'm done working my full shift, I'll have one scheduled for 6 p.m. and I'll do a 10-minute, half an hour survey, whatever. Sometimes there's an hour one that pays I think it's an hour is $70. Okay. So $70 in an hour on my free time, and if I'm maybe you're working late that day, and I'm just bringing in some extra cash that'll buy us a nice dinner. Yeah. I think it's a good idea. It's not. I don't do it. It's not my jam. But I love that you do it. Buy me dinner. That's fine. Well, it's cool. I mean, I'm just hey, I'm kind of like that. It's just my old. I don't know. I think when I was a kid, I was well, I was able to buy a nice dinner with this money, and it's making me think this was free. In the surveys, they don't take any effort. They really don't. I'm not they're not this big puzzle that I'm trying to solve. It's really what would you do? Where would you click? Simple stuff that you would ask anybody. Yeah. So I think the main key here is just to make sure you find ones that are legit. So make sure, I think that's the main message, right, to all of our many listeners. Right. And I think of it as snack money. And because we were eventually going to name this podcast, Chris and I were thinking for a while. I kept coming back to her saying, doesn't that sound okay? It was going to be called Snacks with Randy. And he loves snacks. We'll do a whole episode about snacking. We will. And snacking is life. Okay. Life is snacking. Stay focused. Oh, whatever. I'll focus on snacks. So let's get into another subject. That's the survey idea. So I think I've given you what you need to go look up some good ways to bring in some extra cash this year, and you can start today. You don't need your social security number either. Believe me, you don't need to give any personal information. So the next topic is about your talent being your side income, and these are just some ideas and things I've actually done to earn some more money. And again, these aren't things you do as your main career unless you are able to turn it into that. It's possible. But did you ever have something you wish you had done for a career? Something that you're passionate about, but it never became your career? Maybe that could be your side hustle idea. For example, maybe you play an instrument and you could give lessons. Do you know somebody who did something like this? Yes, I do. That you could maybe give a real life example? Yes, myself and many of my friends. It's a great way to bring in money on the side, or if you're doing it enough. What instrument do you play? I play the drums. I not so actively anymore, but I love to play the drums whenever I get a chance. And so you taught drum lessons for a long time. I did. And then even on the side, you did stuff when you started working. And so it was something that you were passionate about and that you were able to share that passion with people and make a few extra dollars. Mm-hmm. And now you sit in on some band gigs, right? You're not in a band. Not in a band, but I am in a band. I mean, no, I play along with a great band. If you're on my Facebook or you follow me on Twitter, you might see some of their stuff, but it's a cover band and we play other people's music. It's a lot of fun. These are some really talented, some of the best guys in the Detroit area playing covers of your favorite songs and some unexpected songs, not like most cover bands would play nowadays. Yeah. So you make a few extra bucks, drumming on the weekends. Yeah. And it's super fun. Yes, it is. And I love seeing you there. You're there
I
to support me.
I love to go to all the gigs.
And at one of my gigs, you sat on the drum set, and I was like, "Play a beat, play a beat."
I did. I pretend I have rhythm, right? But I am
You
tone
do.
deaf. Is
You
that
do.
what we're saying?
I mean, teaching student and seeing people with rhythm and people having to learn rhythm, you have rhythm. Yes,
good for me.
it's in your blood, man. You got rhythm.
Good.
So that's a good way to earn some extra cash if you can monetize that talent. Something else. Do you know a second language? I don't.
Oh yeah.
If I did, I would maybe give language lessons.
Well, I think you can do. I think my friend does this thing where you can like teach like English as a second language even online. So I think that's something that's like not an official tip.
Yeah,
but I
know.
think my friend does that.
I just know that I have a brother that's fairly fluent in Spanish, and is that thing fairly fluent, or are you just fluent?
I think you can be fairly anything.
Okay.
I think you can be fairly fluent.
Stay there for a while over in South America.
Yeah, and he could probably like if he wanted to like tutor kids for like high school, I bet he could do that on the weekends.
He did. He did for like at he actually kind of did that. At my old high school, he taught some science, math, and some Spanish. Yeah.
That's smarter than both of us.
Yeah, I know like 2 words, and not just the swear words. I mean, I know how to ask for food, and
of course you do.
Snacks. Okay,
snacks.
Right. I mean, okay. So, well, another thing is maybe you can paint. I painted Christa's condo
for free. That's not a tip, dude.
That's you know what, but I could have made money off you. I could have been like, that'll be $3,000. But
I would have hired someone else.
Oh, you said okay, whatever. You know what? I can paint though. So, like, if you can paint,
that's a good tip, though.
Yeah. I can't match colors for crap, but Christa will just say like, yeah, that matches, and I can put it on the wall and make it look consistent.
I can make snacks.
You can make snacks, and I mean, if I'm eating nachos
painting.
and cheese and crackers and whatever, I'll paint your walls. Just
perfect.
That's making money to me. Snacks are money. Money is, I guess, food is money.
That's
right?
your currency. You get paid in snacks.
Oh yeah. Anybody that knows me that they know I'm like, yeah, just give me some food and we're cool.
Oh my god.
Right? I mean, so if you're just doing that, that's a good way to make money, though. I have some really handy friends that, they do siding, they do do some tuck pointing on houses, something that other people are afraid to get their hands dirty doing. Help them out and just make a few bucks if they want to pay you before they pay some company that has a lot of
they might
overhead.
refer you to like their neighbor, and like so you're helping out your friend, and then the neighbor like word spreads that they got a handy guy. So it could work out.
And I forgot to add something in the first section about one way you mentioned to save money, and another thing that I said, I've heard of that, but I never took advantage of it, and that's Ebates. We're not getting paid by them at all. I'll just say that.
So Ebates, my sister-in-law did Ebates, and then she told us about it a few years ago, and I just was like, it sounds a little sketchy, and I never thought about it. And then I think my other sister brought it up, and we're having coffee.
Yeah,
and
4 p.m. Why not?
Ebates is amazing. It's amazing. Sign up today. I'll send you a referral code so I can get the money. Yeah. But basically everything you buy online, if you click through and use Ebates, you get a percentage back. So sometimes it's like 2%, which doesn't sound like a lot. But again, if you keep track of it, it comes back. And then they have like holiday sales. Like they'll have like 12%, or like on Valentine's Day, they had 14% because it's on February 14th. So Ebates helps you like keep track of, they give you cash back basically. And so it's amazing. So I would really recommend it. And then, people have a lot of different everyone has a credit card story. We've been using the Amazon one, which we like because I like to shop at Whole Foods sometimes. And Amazon gives you 5% back, right? On everything on Amazon.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And you were talking with one of your friends. Was that
it was probably Mary.
Party? I think it might have been Mary. And she said, why don't you just use the Amazon Visa? I'm like, Amazon card? I'm like, what?
Yeah, no, I think it was Mary. Mary turned me on to the Amazon Visa. And the first time I applied for the Visa, I actually put in that I didn't put in like the number of zeros when I tried to apply for the card. So I thought I made like $10 or $20. Like I didn't put in all the zeros.
Yeah.
So it looked like I made like $5. So I got declined for my first Amazon card.
Because they're like, we want you spending more money here. You got to tell us you're able to do that.
I was so sad because I love Amazon and they declined me. But now I have one. And
dude, you've made them so much money. It's like they should know your name on there. Like,
well, the other cool thing that Amazon does, which we haven't mentioned, but they actually connect to charities.
Mm.
And so you can, again, it goes back to like, yes, we're looking for ways to make money for ourselves, but like obviously giving into your community is super important.
Amazon Smile is what you're, okay.
Yeah,
yes.
Amazon Smile. So like our church is on Amazon Smile. And so every purchase I make on Amazon, I don't know what the percentage is, but a percentage goes to my church. So like, why wouldn't I do that? So I think that could be a whole conversation in itself. Is just Amazon Smile. And I think that is a really good tool.
Yeah, that's great. It's like you're making Amazon take a portion of the money that they would have just normally had and put it towards like your church or your
there's a ton
of
charities on there, and I think you can add. I think communities can add their charity on there too.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously, like Amazon didn't pick the church. Like we must have put the paperwork through or something.
Yeah, it was like a URL with like a subdomain. It was I forget, but you showed me, and I was like, yeah, why wouldn't you do that? It's going to like force them to take some of their profits and benefit somebody.
And I'm more likely to buy it on Amazon because I know, like, if I can buy it in any other retailer online, I'm more likely to go to Amazon first because I want the percentage back on my card, and then I want money to go to my charity, to my church.
And I know in adding to what you just said about the credit card, I know this might sound kind of crazy, but there are ways to make money off credit cards if you're going to use them based on the terms of their, an offer they're proposing. There's some credit cards out there that'll pay you like $500 if within like 60 or 90 days you spend $4,000. And I know that's a lot of money to spend on a credit card. I don't generally spend that much on a credit card in 90 days. Well, maybe I do. If you're forcing yourself to pay all of your bills for that time period with that credit card, that's like free money.
Or if you're also like if you know you're going through like a big purchase process, like maybe you are going on a vacation or you're going on your honeymoon or you're going to buy a house, like maybe you look at some of those things when you're bound to spend that much money in a month versus like an everyday month.
Great point, because that's one time I did benefit from that. It was one of the credit cards offering like, it was between $250 and $500 if you spend $4,000. And my last house that I was selling, I had to redo the pipes. I just wanted it to be all nice, and that was exactly $4,000. So I just say, hey, can I put this on a credit card to the company? And they took my credit card, and it's like getting an instant $500 off. That was cool.
Woot woot.
Oh, well, thank you again. There's a lot of owl noises here today. There's so. Anyways, I'd love to thank my fiance, Christa, here for joining me today as co-host. And I'd like to thank our audience and Vic the cat, how about him, for putting time aside to contribute to the podcast. In our next episode, we don't even know what it's about yet.
Oh my God, it's a big secret.
We have a list of topics, and we're going to surprise you next time. I'm not going to say it a week ahead of time, because not everybody does that anyways.
Yeah, and then I don't have to, like, maybe it's a topic I don't have to be here for.
Oh, you're going to be here. I'm going to pull you in somehow. I mean, come on. You help
People
me get this
love
thing
me.
rolling. Yeah, they do.
I think I'm going to have a lot of fans.
Awesome. You will. And what you should do, people listening out there, is follow our podcast. If you're a new listener, we would love to hear from you. You can follow this podcast by visiting randyhanley.com/podcast. You could also look for Randrums on Twitter and any social media links you want.
No one follow me on anything. I'm all set.
Leave her alone, okay? We're on Stitcher. We're also on Google Play Music Podcast, as well as iTunes. Just search for the Manly Hanley Podcast. Thanks a lot for listening, everyone. Have a great day.
Woo-hoo!